Right, everybody. By now, if you're already this far and you continue on this far with the RPG game, you're probably about now starting to realise just how big these games are. I think we've done about a good hour's worth of video so far just on RPG. There's a huge swathe of things that I could tell you, want to show you, but realistically don't have time to in this series. We're going to carry on with a little bit more though, and we're going to look at making you invincible and also level persistence. Persistence refers to when you leave a room and return, having everything as it was when you left. A little bit like saving and loading. What I'm going to show you first and foremost there though is becoming invincible. What I want to have happen is when Hector contacts a dragon, rather than just dying, we're going to take some damage and then be able to move out of the way. Just like happens in Mario, when you take damage, you get just enough time to move out of the way before you can take more damage. So in order to do this, we're going to add another starting setting to player to Hector, and we're going to call this can take damage. That's a really ugly variable name. It's late, but the idea, can we take damage? At the start, yes, we can take damage. Then, when we collide with the dragon, so I'm going to actually do this all in player. I'm the player. When I collide with the dragon, if I can take damage, so if can take damage equals true, we're going to take some damage. So my HP is going to go down by an amount. I'm going to say 20 points. Now you could scale this by your level if you wanted to, so this is a good way of doing damage resistance. We might do that, that would be quite cool. But we're going to hard code it to 20 at the minute. So if you take 20 points of damage, what we're then going to do is can take damage is going to get set back to false. And then we're going to, no we're not, getting over eager. We're going to use an alarm again in our system. And this is why, you see how we've got alarm 0 up here. Alarms have these square brackets, and by now you're probably really frustrated because it's difficult for you to see if things are square brackets, regular brackets, which are called parentheses by the way, or squiggly brackets. I don't know the proper name for squiggly brackets. If you do, please tell me. But the idea is that anything that has square brackets is what we call an array. It's a list. And this is why when we create a new alarm event, we can have lots of them. The idea being here, we're going to wait for a period of time, and once that period of time happens, we can start taking damage again. Or we're going to become invincible for a time, I should say. So we're going to have this an alarm. Now I'm going to use alarm 1 here. Remember, we've been using alarm 0 so far, but that's already got a job. That is setting up our starting text box. So when alarm 1 happens, and we're going to have that wait for a period of time, we're going to give us 2 seconds, and then I am going to set taking damage to false. We're just getting over eager there. What the alarm is going to do once the alarm sounds, can take damage becomes true again. So let's make that happen. Alarm 0, and do you remember what I mentioned about lists? Arrays are lists, and this is why you've got a big long list of different alarms that we can use. So once the alarm rings, can take damage becomes true again. The one thing that I've missed out here is when we collide with the dragon, if can take damage equals true, we take 20 points away, have a counter, and then can take damage becomes false. Before that is all resolved, we need to see have we died. So, like we've done a million times by now, if our HP is less than or equal to a value, well obviously 0, if we have run out of HP, we are defeated. Now, there's a couple of things you can do here. We've looked at room before, so we've done things like room restart, which would be more than suitable here. That would be fine. But I want to show you the things that you can do with game. So you can do end the game, load, which is quite good if you wanted saving and loading. Literally just captures something and then you load and it works. Great. You can restart the game. Because I'm going to be evil, I'm going to completely force my player. Game ends. It just turns off when they lose the game. Just to show you that, you know, we can be quite cruel about this. And I'm just adding in those things. Obviously, please do add in comments as you go based on what you think these things are doing based on what I've said so far. I've just used tab to tidy that up. So when I play the game now, what we should see is we become invincible for a small period of time. And now I'm going to run this in debug mode. So what I'm going to do here Minimize, minimize, minimize. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to have a look at Hector. Tools, show local variables of Hector. 1001. And we have all of our variables that we've created. Can take damage is set to true. We can take damage. So I'm going to go and collide with one of these really slow-moving evil dragons. I'm sure I'll put one over here. Come back, dragon. I need evil dragon. So I should take some damage, but you see how I didn't immediately die? Whereas as soon as I touched the next one, I should immediately die, and it was game over, and it completely closed the game. So now I'm going to try this again. I'm going to make contact with the dragon. I'm going to collect some health, and I'm going to go back to the dragon. And I could happily just walk through the dragon then, but if I go back, taking some more damage, and then that should be game over. In things like Mario, they generally have things flash to say that you are invincible, or come up with some warning or something to say that you're invincible for a period of time. I am, however, just also going to make the dragon a solid object. And let's just see what solid does. So you see I can't just casually walk through the dragon now. And that's just solid. I didn't even have to tell it to stop. Just doing solid sometimes does what we need it to do. The next thing we're going to do is persistence, leaving a room and returning to a room. So I'm going to set up a very simple portal. It's just going to be a way of leaving the room. I'm going to create a 64 by 64 sprite. This is going to be a door. For simplicity, I'm just going to have it being a magical portal, which means I can be really lazy about drawing it out. That looks like a magical portal, right? Yeah. It's late, accept. And this is going to be called SPR underscore portal. You could replace it with a door if you really, really want to. And we're going to have an object that does exactly that. OBJ underscore portal. Now the idea of portal is I'm just going to position it over on this side of our room here. Oh, what a beautiful looking horrible blob that is. When player collides with portal, it's going to take us to another level. Now all I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a few portals just to go from one room to the other. And actually I'm going to set things up for debugging because I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going to keep that just named as it is, and I'm going to add a cheat code to Hector. I'm going to say when I key press the A key on my keyboard, any key of choice, this is just going to go to a hard-coded room. And this is just because I don't fancy creating another portal to go back. But this is another way of just doing cheat codes, and great for debugging as well, by the way. So room underscore go to, and the room I'm going to go to is back to the main map when I press the A key. However, when player collides with the portal, room underscore go to, then we're going to go to the horribly named room 1. Now, what this is to show you here, what persistence is if I kill some dragons, or however much HP I have when I leave the room, when I come back, so let's go and collect my potion. So I've collected it from the tree. I'm going to defeat this one here, and then I'm going to leave. And I've gone to my next level. Imagine it looks better than that. I'm going to press my A key, which is just going to take me back to my main level. Now, you're going to see an interesting problem. I am pressing the A key. See, you can hear that. That's the A key being pressed. What's happening here is every time I press the A key, well, where was my player when he left the room? He was touching the portal. So every time the level reloads, he's going to be touching the portal. So sometimes you need to be a bit clever about this. So all I'm going to say, this isn't going to make any sense if I would have put this in at the start of the game. I'm going to change starting settings to say every time player is created, take my X coordinate and take 20 pixels away from it. Now this is well and truly a fudge. And by fudge I mean inelegant cheat. Because what this is doing is when I leave this room and then press A to return, damn, prove me wrong. Why didn't that work? Player, when I press portal, go to room 1. When I press the A key, has anyone else spotted the problem? You've probably spotted the problem. Okay, let's talk through this. When Hector presses the A key, there's no Hector on room 1. at least the actual technique I was showing you does actually work. So I'm going to leave via the portal. Hector's in his new room, but you see also it obeyed the rules that he was following. He still said, ow, my head. I'm going to press A to return, and there we go. Now the reason why it's not currently persistent is we need to tell each room under its settings to obey the rules of persistency. So whenever I go, record what happens in that level when I leave. So you saw what happened there is as I left, it didn't record where I was, whereas as I go now and press A to return, it is doing it. But it is, you can just make out because Hector is still moving to the right. So when we left off, guys, we had Hector who was going to the right and going through our portal. I've just created a few little tweaks because I had to get something clear in my own mind. So what I've changed here is in the create code, I've removed that bit of code from moving it there. So we did have x minus equals 20. I've removed that from there and I've instead put it into this new event, which is get a room start. So I've done add event, other, room start, and that's as soon as the room loads, it detects that the room has started. I've put the bit of code in there, but I've done two things. I've set x minus equals 20, which is what we did before, move 20 pixels to the left, and set our character speed to 0, because what was happening is they were moving to the right constantly and re-colliding with the object. What I've also said is when I collide with the portal, execute that stop script that we had before, which is that script that was running there, so stop it running, but we're still just going to our room as before. So if you've done all of that correctly, guys, what you should see is when we go up to our tree and we collect our potion, we defeat that baddie there. We go to level 2, we return to our level. I've still got as much HP as I left with. That dragon is dead. I'm going to return to the tree and I shouldn't get a potion because I've already got that potion. So it's a way of stopping exploits in that kind of way. You can't just leave the room and return to get all the goodies a second time. Hope that's been useful and informative for you guys. That's basically RPG games. I might make a few more videos about this, but ultimately that's as far as I need you to get. Well done.